Hi, I'm Erik Linask. I'm here in Austin, Texas in the TMC newsroom we're at the start of the second day of IT Expo West. It's my pleasure to be speaking with Andy Cooper this morning. Andy's from Xconnect. Andy, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for asking me.
So tell me, what's Xconnect? What are you up to these days?
So Xconnect as a business really looks after what we call VoIP federation. So that means that we provide multilateral interconnect services for service providers for their voice over IP traffic. I guess we've been operating for about 5 years. We've got about 100 and odd service provider customers connected today, kind of across the world. And what we do really is kind of create federations, which are kind of communities of service providers with a kind of common interest. So it's beyond the normal interconnect regime. It looks at a particular national area and says you want to, your 4 or 5 carriers want to interconnect your networks for this particular national traffic, or you want to connect for your high definition voice traffic, or other sorts of traffic, or other reasons. So it's really an extension to the traditional interconnect method that we're used to in the PSTN, again specifically aimed at voice over IP and specifically aimed at the kind of multilateral community feel.
So, how far are we from, and how important is it that we get true global interconnectivity?
Well, I mean, I guess what we're seeing is obviously the enterprise networks are buying all of this good UC kit to do video and IM and presence and HD voice end to end. And what we're finding obviously is that the PSTN as it isn't capable of carrying that sort of traffic. So there's a kind of groundswell, if you like, at the lower end to change the way that service providers interconnect in order to realise those kind of very clever UC features. So really, from an Xconnect point of view, we've really focused in the last sort of 5 years or so on really voice, so an alternative way of doing your voice traffic, a better, cheaper, higher quality way of exchanging VoIP traffic. I guess the drive in more recent times has been to move up the stack from voice to other things. So I think 2 years ago we launched a high definition voice federation so that our customers can actually exchange high definition voice traffic, which obviously is not possible over the traditional PSTN. And this year we've announced a video federation, which we call Video Interconnect Exchange, which again allows our customers to actually make video calls in the same way that you would make a voice call. And video is a completely different ecosystem to voice, right? It's the complexity of it is 50 times more than voice is. So it's a kind of stepping stage, I guess, in terms of developing that community for video. So the aim being that you should be able to make a video call in the same way that you can make a voice call today.
So is or will potential for video communication, video traffic interconnections drive more business for you than, say, HD voice did? I get the sense that HD voice may not have been quite the driver for a lot of businesses that it maybe should have been.
Well, I think it's a chicken and egg problem, right? That if you can't make an HD voice call and having an HD voice capable endpoint is not really a lot of value to you. So once you kind of open that up, then HD voice will be a natural thing. And I think HD voice has been used as a bit of a marketing angle to say, look at our network, it's great because we can do HD voice. So I think it'll just be a natural progression, to be honest, on HD voice. I think video is a different proposition because I think everybody recognises the added value benefits that you get from video in any sorts of communication. And therefore there is some real additional value to actually driving video to make it as easy as the PSTN.
And I agree. On the one hand, I think people don't necessarily understand the benefit that you get from HD voice, though, until you've actually heard and carried out HD conversations.
That's true.
You never have to ask people to repeat themselves.
And conference calls for HD, I think that's really the real application. We've all been on conference calls where you can't really hear what people are saying, particularly if you're speaking with someone who's where English isn't their first language. So yeah, HD voice on conference calls is actually really an excellent application. But again, it all depends on having that infrastructure in place to make it worthwhile. If only 1% of your calls are HD calls, it's kind of the value is eroded somewhat.
What about HD voice over on video conferencing? Do you think that's going to help drive the adoption of HD voice services in general?
I think it's a kind of generic function that you'll see as part of a video session, because if you can support the video session end to end, then obviously you can support the HD voice session, and therefore you by its nature, you would be silly not to have that as part of it. So I think, as I say, on the video stuff though, there are so many different standards, there are so many different players. It'll be a while before you see some truly ubiquitous video exchanges going on. But it's moving now, I think the industry really wasn't moving up until this year to actually say, well, we need to kind of get video connected and we need to create these communities in order to exchange it. And so we're seeing a lot more take up, and I suspect that'll be something we'll be working on heavily for the next, 5 years probably.
How important is it for you to be working with the different video conferencing vendors? How big of a role do they play?
So our customers generally tend to be the service providers,
right,
as opposed to the actual video manufacturers. We do have relationships with Polycoms and those guys, but I guess it's really we're kind of the next stage up. If they standardise stuff more, it would certainly be easier for us. On the other hand, our kind of approach really is to try and put things in the middle of our federation where it can actually support interworking between various vendors' equipment and various networks. So again, standardisation is good. From our point of view, actually some lack of standardisation is good, because it means we have an opportunity to do some interworking in the middle.
Does the work that organizations like the UCIF, for instance, are doing, is that a benefit for you?
Yeah, sure. There's a few kind of forums, UCIF, there's a kind of OVCC, which is a Polycom forum for looking at interconnection. There's also a few of these kind of exchange providers, Glowpoint, BCS, that are all really working towards how do I make video easier to use, because then I can actually gain more value from it. So I think there's a lot of strands going on, and it's just really a case of it'll take a bit of time, right? But I think it's moving, right, which is a good thing, which I don't think it's happened before. So.
Excellent. Andy, thank you so much for joining me on today's
No
program.
problem at all. Thank you very much. Cheers.